Welcome. This video tutorial focuses on Pivot System Administrators training. We will be going over some of the settings in Pivot so you are able to manage the settings in your Pivot site easily. Today I am using our Michigan demo site and will log in as a Pivot administrator. After logging in, you will see your name in the top right corner. Next to it is a square with your initials. When you click the square, you are taken to a screen that displays your name, user role, and option to change your password if you are using database authentication. If you are using LDAP or Google authentication, you will need to contact your tech department to change user information. Above my initials is a little bubble. It will appear red if you have new notifications, gray if you have read them. This is how we notify you of software updates and changes. The bell will also display notifications, but these are personal notifications from your Pivot site. An example would be a notification for an evaluator that a growth plan is waiting for approval. The question mark takes you to our knowledge base site. From this site, you are able to suggest a new feature, request Pivot help, search for a topic, or click Pages to discover our printable user guides. All users except students have the icons that we have discussed so far. Students do not have the question mark. Pivot administrators have an additional icon, the cog. This gives the Pivot administrator two additional menu ribbons to choose from. Under General and Options, this screen simply tells you how your site is set up. It lists your authentication type. It also lists your SIS information. If you have a sync set up, your credentials will be listed here as well. Now let's click on Users. Users Manage. This is where districts with database authentication will spend most of their time. Again, if you use LDAP or Google authentication, your changes will need to be done through your tech department. This screen allows you to click to create a new user, to export all the users into a CSV file, search for a user, and filter by user role. Anytime you see a pencil in Pivot, that means you are able to edit. For database users, you can edit their name, personnel number, adjust their user role, enable or disable their account. For all types of authentication, we recommend disabling instead of deleting users. You are also able to assign buildings. And for database users, you're able to modify their username and password. The black icon is a ghost. You are able to ghost in as a user, and it allows you to see exactly what the user sees. When you are finished, you click Log Out, and it will return you back to your login. These columns are sortable. You can sort them ascending or descending. Now I'm going to show you the login report. This shows you exactly when users are logging in. You can filter by name, building, or user type. You can also sort the columns ascending or descending, and you are able to export this report into a CSV file as well. Evaluations. Now let's explore the evaluations menu, settings. The settings on this screen impact all of the different rubrics in your site. The one setting I would like to point out is allow evaluators to set their own staff to observe or evaluate. Sometimes a district will have a designated person to assign the staff to the evaluators. If that is the case, you would just change this to no. Rubrics. This shows you all of the rubrics that are listed in your site. You are able to delete a rubric if no data is attached to it. Otherwise, you click the pencil to edit, and you are able to disable the rubric instead of delete. You are also able to create new rubrics. And throughout all of these different areas, Pivot works exactly the same. A pencil to edit, and you can create new items as well. Evaluators. This screen shows you all of the current evaluators in your site. If you need to make changes to the list, just contact your Pivot account manager. Evaluator staff. Each evaluator has a screen like this unless you restrict their ability to select their own evaluating staff. It is important to know the difference between primary and secondary evaluators. If an evaluator is the secondary evaluator, they will not have any access to observations or evaluations performed by the primary evaluator. If shared access is needed, you may select multiple primary evaluators. To select staff, first select the evaluator, then click Primary or Secondary Evaluator. Scroll to the bottom and update evaluating staff. Staff rubrics. You may assign a specific rubric to certain staff members. Documents. All documents that are uploaded into Pivot will live here. Staff groups. You can create or edit staff groups from this screen. Any group that has data attached to it can only be disabled, not deleted. You are able to edit the components or add a new one. If you do not see a component listed that you would like, you can create a new one in the summative settings screen. Summative settings. Manage summative ratings. You can adjust the scoring. Scroll down to add summative components. Whatever you add here will appear in the component drop-down box in the staff groups. That concludes our video tutorial. Please contact your account manager if you have any questions.